baby? What's going on? This is a fantastic day to be alive. We're here live for day 3 of explosive growth. I'm so happy that you're here with me. This is such a fantastic day. We're going to continue our deep introspection into real estate investing. I love investing in real estate because there's just so many different avenues that you can go into. Today, we're going to talk about investment strategy and picking your investment strategy. We're going to discuss why, what you're looking for. Why would you use one investment strategy or over another? Or what should you focus on? There's so many different facets of real estate. And a huge part when you want to pick where you want to go into and what type of investment you want to look at is, what are your goals? What is your personal goals, and what do you want to do when it comes to real estate investing? Do you want to build wealth? Do you want to cash flow? Do you want to make some quick flips? Do you want to use a no money down strategy where you don't have to invest any of your capital, at least while you get some cash flow going, to reinvest? There's so many different ways, and it really depends on what do you want to do. The good news is you can start from anywhere. You can literally start from zero and build a very successful career investing in real estate and go into many different levels. Really depends on where you want to begin. So with that, let's dig right in. Let me share my screen with you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. And let me see if there's anything from the past few days. Let's go. I love that. That is something I would say. That is totally something I would say. I totally love that. So let's go right in. All right. Hopefully everyone can see this. Awesome. All right. Explosive growth 5-day challenge. This is something near and dear to me because explosive growth means to me starting from nothing and building something incredible. And that can absolutely happen through real estate investing. And that's what that means to me, because there was nobody who showed me the ropes, who held my hand, who said, hey, come, I'm going to teach you everything about real estate. It was really my burning desire to be successful and my desire to learn about real estate that pushed me through. So anyone can do this, but you have to have the burning desire. You have to have the commitment to greatness, and you have greatness within you, whether or not you know that. So I'm going to help you achieve greatness. Here's my disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor or an attorney or a CPA. I am a real estate agent and a real estate investor, and we're going to discuss my own personal results and experiences. I nor anyone else can guarantee any future result for you. There's so many diverse factors when it comes to real estate and real estate investing. And every deal you have to look at from an investment perspective and see if it makes sense for you. And also for your own personal situation. Like any investment, there is a substantial amount of risk involved, and you make your own investment decision at your own risk. You may not get anything positive depending on what type of investment you make, and you have to look at the risk. And with every investment, there is a certain amount of risk involved. Anyone who tells you that there's no risk involved in real estate is lying to you.
Can you make the slides full screen?
Yeah, no, yeah, they're not.
I can't see it full screen. I just see the first slide.
They're not going. Yeah, so I think let me see. I think it's behind a little bit. It's behind a little bit. All right, so let's see. Going back to, okay, we already went over our disclaimer. Did you know that you have greatness within you? Here's a question that I want you to ask yourself, and even, just something to think upon. You don't even have to answer it this second. But what if you don't even know what you're capable of? What if you don't even know what you're capable of or what you're capable of doing? So that's just something I want you to think about on a deeper level. This is new, and with everything new, there's always the question, can I even do this? Well, I want to flip that question and say, what if you don't even know what you're even capable of doing in this business or in life? So just think about that and just dig deep for greatness and explore new realms that you haven't even imagined. So I just wanted, today's word of the day is faith. When you start something new or when you start something that you haven't done before, you have to have faith. You have to have complete trust or confidence in someone or in something. So faith is when you have a belief in something that you don't fully understand yet or you're new to, and you have a faith that you're going to keep on going. The reason why faith is important is because if you don't have faith, if you don't believe that you're able to do this, then you lose motivation and you're not going to pursue it and you're not going to try and you're not going to make the actions that you don't understand yet that is going to take you to the next level. So you've got to have faith and you've got to have conviction that you can do this. And even though you don't fully understand it, even though you don't see the whole map, as long as you can see the next step, that's what's most important. So you got to have faith. Day 3, we're going into the investment strategy. Let's see. Okay, we're going to cover wholesaling real estate. So hold on. Let me go back. All right, how to get started with zero money and zero credit, which can also be said wholesaling. Let me make sure. Is the picture coming better now?
It's a little delayed.
Yeah, it's delayed. Okay. So day 3 is how to get started with zero money or credit. We're going to talk about wholesaling. Wholesaling. What is wholesaling? Wholesaling is when somebody puts a property under contract and then their intent is to sell the contract. So they don't own the property. And actually, the Texas legislature has come down hard on this in the most recent legislative sessions because a few wholesalers, a few bad actors ruin it for everybody. So the Texas legislature has passed certain laws where wholesalers have to be very clear in that they don't own the property. They only own the contract. They own the right to purchase this property, and they're selling that right. So a wholesaler basically allows someone else to step in and buy this contract to buy the property for a fee and basically appear at closing to purchase the contract. So if I'm a wholesaler, I have this property under contract, and basically I'm going to sell you my right to buy the contract at a fixed price, and then I would add a fee on that, hopefully a minor fee that makes sense. And then at closing, you step in my place and you purchase the property. And then everyone's happy. Now, for this to make sense, there has to be enough fudge, enough cushion to where there's still enough meat on the bones after you step in after a wholesaler and you purchase the contract. And there's enough meat on the bones that you can still renovate the property and you can still make a profit. And then the wholesaler makes their fee for finding the deal. And at the end of the day, whoever the property owner currently is, they get paid as well because they sold the property. So that's a huge benefit in wholesaling. You want to be very cautious as well. A lot of wholesalers want you to put all of this money up front, non-refundable. And I wouldn't advise on all of that because you still need to do your due diligence. You need to make sure that the numbers make sense. The deal is intact. You want to make sure they actually have the right to purchase the property. So I want to see their contract. Some wholesalers like to keep people in the dark and say they're not going to show you the contract, but I need to know what are the terms that I'm agreeing to. So if you're wholesaling a contract to me and I'm stepping in, I need to know what are all the terms that you agreed to with the owner, the current owner, with the seller, and what am I agreeing to? Because now if I'm stepping in your place, I am stepping in and I have to know, do I have a week to close? Do I have 3 weeks to close? What is the contract date? And then what is the sales price? And what are the other terms? So we have to make sure that everything is lined up in place. Driving for dollars, that's a great strategy. We discussed that a little bit yesterday. Driving for dollars, when we see in every neighborhood, there's a ton of rundown properties. And I don't care if you're in Memorial or you're in the Heights or you're in Third Ward or you're in East Downtown. Every neighborhood, whether from the lower end to the top end, has rundown properties or abandoned properties. And these can quite often be properties where somebody just disappeared or there was a death that caused the property to go through the probate process and somebody inherited the property. Oftentimes, they don't even know they inherited the property. So it can get a little bit tedious when you have to find heirs. But the more difficult a deal is to put together sometimes means a great big bang at the end, a great investment opportunity, a great opportunity to create wealth. And sometimes there's 10 heirs or there's 7 brothers and sisters who have to agree to sell a property. And that can be the difficult part, navigating through all of that. But if you can get everybody on board and they can agree to liquidate this asset and they all get a check, it can be a benefit for everyone. Whereas the property is just sitting, collecting dust and also collecting past due property taxes. Quite often when there's a bunch of heirs that have inherited a property and they don't even know they have, no one wants to pay the property taxes and they can't agree on that. So why don't we let somebody purchase it? Let's make those property taxes current. Let's liquidate that asset and get everybody a check. And sometimes it can work. So those are great ways to find investment properties. Skip tracing is where we are looking for the heirs and we're trying to get a hold of them and to see basically where do they belong, where are they located, what is, and it can be very difficult. But the more heirs, the more difficult. But again, the more difficult a deal is to put together, in most cases, is a huge payoff at the end. Fix and flip versus buy and hold. We're going to talk a little bit about the investment strategy, fix and flip versus buy and hold, and I'm going to show you the heat map. So why would we want to fix and flip versus buy and hold? And first of all, again, I bring it back to you. What are your investment goals? What is your investment strategy and what is it that you are looking for? Are you looking for quick cash flow? A flip is great for a lump sum payment at the end. But I want to say 2 things. You have to be able to navigate the holding costs while you're going through the deal. And that can take 90 days or longer. So if you're using hard money, who is making the interest payments? You got to certainly budget for the interest payments. The holding costs, there's utilities that need to be paid. There's interest payments. Property taxes don't have to generally be paid on a monthly basis, but at the end of the sale, you're going to have to pay those property taxes. The insurance needs to be paid up front, and you better have some insurance. And if you're using hard money or private money, they will absolutely guarantee that you better have some insurance. So insurance, utilities, interest payments, there's holding costs. So you've got to budget for that. But at the very end, when you finally resell the property on the open market, you can maximize that value and get a lump sum payment. And that's great. Pay yourself and then reinvest. So those are great things to do. But why would you forego a quick flip for a hold? And we're going to look at the heat map. I'm going to go into the Houston heat map and show you where the biggest rise and increases in appreciation and value over the last 20 years has been historically. And you can kind of see the heat map, and that's where you want to hold properties, where the heat map, where the hottest markets have been over the last 20 years. If the trend continues, those might be great places to hold on to a property. And so if you hold on and you rent it out, you're basically knowing that if I can wait 10, 20, 30 years, I can stand to make way more in the future than I would make right now. And those are great hold strategies. Now, a hold strategy might not be something you want to start with when you need cash flow. And again, that depends on your investment strategy. If you are making cash flow from different businesses or from your day job and it's adequate cash flow, then you might want to start with holding real estate investments. But again, you just have to look at your personal strategy and what are you looking for right now. But great areas create great investment opportunities for the long term. We'll look at the Houston heat map. I'll bring that up next. And then also we're going to talk about multifamily versus building a rental portfolio. I'll cover that shortly. And then property management. When do you need a property management? Building wealth versus immediate cash flow. So let me bring that into the heat map real quick. Let me share that with y'all. Do we have any questions? We'll take some questions while we bring that up. Let's see. Quick question says, let's say I see a home that looks abandoned. What is my first step? How do I get this deal? Great question. So the first step, if a house is abandoned and it's been abandoned, I would definitely start skip tracing that. There's various resources you can use to skip trace. What does skip trace mean, by the way? Let's take a step back. Skip trace means I need to find someone who owns this property and they are nowhere to be found. So it's an abandoned property, looks like it's falling down. There might be squatters, broken windows. We've seen them all. I mean, we go to any neighborhood in Houston. This is Houston, Texas. Go to any neighborhood in Houston and you're going to find certain properties that look run down, abandoned, broken windows. You know, sometimes you'll even see City of Houston violation notices on the front of them, meaning the grass is overgrown. Nobody is upkeeping this property. What happened here? You know, those are great opportunities when it comes to real estate investing because you have a rundown, abandoned property and it looks like no one cares about it. Why don't we find the heirs? Why don't we skip trace them? Especially with Google and the internet now, there's so many methods you can use to find somebody who might own this property. The tax record is a great place to start. Let's look at the tax record. Let's see what the tax record says. Who are they sending the tax bill to, and who might own it? And sometimes, quite often, it's the heirs. They don't even know they own it. So that's a great question. And then let's say next question: how can I find an abandoned home? How do I know this may be a deal? Abandoned homes, just, you know, again, driving for dollars. And the reason why it's called driving for dollars, because you're driving and you're going to make some big bank if you find some great abandoned properties. How do you see? And again, these are the ones where the grass looks like a jungle, 5 foot high grass. You know, I say 5 foot, might be 3 feet. But you see the overgrown grass. No one is taking care of it. City of Houston violation notice. You know, you see broken windows, boarded up windows sometimes because they've been broken so many times that someone had to board them up. So squatters would stop literally coming into these properties. These can be dangerous at times too. You know, you don't know who's staying there or who's in them. Those are highly likely abandoned properties. And the best thing is take a picture, get an address. Let's look up the tax record. Let's use a source like binverified.com. Let's start researching who owns this, who possibly owns this. The tax record is a great source to see who is the owner of record. And quite often, the owner they might have passed away. And so who are the heirs? You know, we've got to do some research. But the more research means the more bucks that's when it's a great opportunity. So great question. We'll go into that. I'll show one source that I've used, been verified. I'll see if I can share that with y'all. That's actually a great one. And let me bring you to the heat map. So let me see. I want to give you all a. Okay. We got the heat map going. I lost my. Okay, there we go. Let me see. So I'm going to share the heat map. Are there any other questions meanwhile? Let me see. Okay, share screen. All right, found it. Heat map. Boom. Can everybody see that? Awesome. All right. So looking at the heat map, this is from January 2006 all the way to January 2021. Just seeing the heat map. These are the properties that have sold and the price per square foot via the MLS data. You can see right here on this side, we're going from the blue areas, which were $100 per square foot, to the green, and then the yellow. Green is $200 a square foot. Yellow is $300 a square foot. And you can see the hottest areas, the highest price per square foot. You can see Bel Air, downtown, Washington corridor. This is the Heights, right here in the Heights. You know, everyone knows the Heights, even if you're from New York or from the East or West Coast and you don't know anything about Texas. I get people from New York or California, they say the Heights. I heard about the Heights, Houston Heights. You know, so Houston Heights is great. Memorials over here. You can see the high price per square feet, you know, and this is again from January 2006 all the way to January 2021 as time progresses. Bel Air, downtown, East downtown. This is MLS data heat map. So if I get an investment property in a hot area that's been appreciating vastly over time, or a tear down, these hot areas right here, maybe that's something I want to hold on to for the long term, because the price per square foot has just increased so vastly over time that maybe I don't want to flip it. These are areas where, yeah, you can flip and you can make a lump sum now, but what if you can hold it for the long term and make a big bank lump sum in 10 or 20 years from now? And that's kind of what I'm referring to when I discuss the heat map. So great questions. Everybody see that? All right, the heat map. The heat map. So let's stop the share right there. I think, yeah, fantastic. So let's get back right into the slides. Okay. So yeah, discussing the heat map and then your investment goals. You know, if again, great appreciating areas. Which, and again, when we discuss inside, so let me real quick bring this back to my screen. So when we're looking inside downtown, we have Loop 610 generally, and I'm just talking in general terms, but inside that loop, that is a very valuable area. So when you get investment properties inside the Loop 610, the Heights, Bel Air, West University, and East downtown has been really great lately. These are areas that are just prime real estate. These are areas where you might consider holding for the long term. Whereas when we look outside of Beltway 8, we're going into the suburbs, Cypress, Katy, although they're great areas, the value is not in the dirt so much to speak. The value is more into the property, the improved property, the home. And that's why you can get newer homes for the same price or less outside of the Beltway, outside of the Grand Parkway Beltway, because the dirt does not appreciate as fast as inside the centric areas of Houston. And this goes in general terms. Again, general, there's always exceptions, but generally speaking, in most cities, the urban areas and inside the central part of the city, those areas have the dirt, the land appreciates a lot faster than the suburbs. And that's something you want to consider when you're investing, that land appreciation. And when you have the exit strategy, do I hold on to it, or do I go for the long term? So those are things you want to look at. So going back into investing goals. And then, so here's the other thing, multifamily versus building a rental portfolio. And when I talk about building a rental portfolio, I'm saying there's some investors who have an investment strategy where they're buying one house per year. And they say over time, over a 10 or 20 year period, now I have a rental portfolio. I have 20 houses. And that's great. I tell everybody, the worst thing that you can do in investing is not investing. If you're not investing, that's just the worst thing. So you've got to pick the best investment strategy for you. And building a rental portfolio is not a bad investment strategy. Me personally, I don't want to deal with calls in the middle of the night to fix my toilet and fix my plumbing and do this. And so for that's where you would get a property management company to handle that. And to me, it would be well worth the investment. But what I love about multifamily is when you're investing in apartment complexes that have 60 units minimum, is the revenue those apartment complexes make substantiates having on-site property management. So you can have a full-time on-site property management who's going to handle any and all complaints, leasing properties, move-ins, move-outs. They're going to handle everything that has to do with the property investment. So the great thing with that is that it's just going to the revenues are going to substantiate on-site property management, and I don't have to worry about that. Whereas a rental portfolio, you're going to have a certain number of houses before you're going to be able to hire a property management company, and then it's going to make sense. But either way, whichever way you decide to go, and we can go deeper on another day with why I love multifamily investing for the cash flow and for the tax advantages. But the worst thing you can do in investing is not investing, because over time, even the gentleman that buys one house per year, after 20 years, they have a rental portfolio. And that's great. And you're letting the cash flow pay itself off. And he's got a retirement strategy. So that's fantastic. We've got someone saying, let's go to some questions. How do I find a multifamily deal? That's a great question. There's many ways to find multifamily deals. A great way to find multifamily deals is driving for dollars, and then also brokers. Brokers have multifamily deals, and the best multifamily deals are off-market deals. They're not the ones on LoopNet or on Commercial Gateway on HAR. There are, and here's another thing with multifamily. Multifamily can be anything from 4 units on. You can have 4 or 5. You can have 10-unit apartment complexes. These are small units. And then you can have 60, 100, 150 units, which are the bigger deals. And then those deals are mainly purchased by apartment syndicators, meaning they syndicate a group of investors and collectively purchase those huge apartment complexes. So that's a topic to discuss at a later date, because it's just a very diverse topic. But I love investing in multifamily apartment syndications because I get the benefits of cash flow. And while my investment is appreciating, I have the benefits of cash flow, and I don't have to worry about the headaches of, fixing toilets, fixing anything that deals with the property. The on-site property management is going to handle that. And I get huge tax benefits. So, we'll have to discuss that at a later date, but there are definitely multitude of ways of finding apartment investment deals, and there are a lot of people who need to invest their hard-earned funds. And a great investment is putting it into an apartment complex where it can cash flow and also give me the benefit of appreciating. My investment is growing as it pays me every single month. Now, the disadvantage of investing into apartment complexes is my investment is a non-liquid investment. It is illiquid, meaning if I want my investment tomorrow, I'm not getting my investment tomorrow unless that apartment complex sells or we're going to refinance. So it is not like a stock or a bond or a cryptocurrency where I can liquidate immediately, but it is something where the cash flow is going to pay me consistently over time. And so somebody says cash flow. I love it. So so that's apartment investing is huge when it comes to building wealth and giving you a immediate cash flow. So that's the differences I wanted to discuss on that. And with that, we'll take some questions. Let me see. We've got a few questions that are coming in. Love the heat map. The numbers do not lie. Exactly. The heat map, that's showing us where do we want to hold properties? Where is the growth? And now I will say there is a lot of growth in the suburbs. There's certainly a lot of growth in the extenuating areas of Houston, the greater Houston area. And there's a lot of growth going on over time. So, I'm not saying that the suburbs is not a good area to invest. You can definitely find some great deals. The numbers don't lie. So when we're looking at the investment criteria, you have to analyze every deal on its own. You have to look at the ARV that we discussed yesterday, the after repair value. What is going to be the cost of me repairing this home? What do I have to pay to repair it to get it to the ARV? And that's going to be a huge factor when you're analyzing a deal. And then on top of that, what is the days on market? How long is it going to take me to sell this property? Because there's holding costs. Until I can liquidate that asset, there are holding costs. So these are great things to think about. So let's see. We have some other questions. And so real quick, with the software that we're using, I'm going to have to show this next time earlier. Yeah, so live viewer comments. This is an example. Click on a comment. So you've got to authorize the software to show who you are if you want to. Justin says, do we have a link for the heat map? Let me see if I can get y'all one. I'll definitely look into that. It is some proprietary stuff, but let me see if I can get you a link for the heat map. We got somebody saying so much great information as a new investor. What is the one thing I should remember from today? And I would say the one thing you should remember from today is in formulating any investment strategy, you have to look at what is your current goal and what is your future goal. If my current goal is I want to get out of my corporate job and I want to do real estate full time. So how fast can I do that? And then what do I need right now? Am I set up as such where I don't need income for the next 6 months? I can really spend time getting into real estate, looking at deals and getting into a deal. Then, maybe I can jump into real estate full time. If I'm not set up as such, then I might need to do real estate part time until I can do it full time. It takes time with any new business. It's going to take time to get going, but the rewards are going to be huge. But it's not like, hey, I'm going to be a real estate investor, so I should start making money tomorrow. You're going to have to look at deals. You're going to have to work with people. You're going to build a power team, which is your contractor, your realtor, your the people that are going to fund your deals. Who's going to fund your deals? And I've had people ask, how do I find money? Where am I going to find money? If you've got a great deal, the money will find you. I mean, there's so many funding sources. And one thing I will say, hard money lenders, the most important criteria that they're looking at is the deal. How do you know if you have a deal? A great way is let a hard money lender look at it. If they're not willing to lend you on a deal, it's probably not a deal. Because if you have a great deal, hard money lender will literally throw money at you to fund that deal if it's a great deal. And the reason why is it called hard money? It's hard money because they're lending you money on a hard asset, on something that we can go out and touch. It is a hard asset, and it is basically something that we can touch and they can lend on. And in the event that the investor doesn't make payments or pay them back, they can absolutely take that asset back and get their money back, and then some, and then make a profit on what they lended, because they have to pad their risk. And that's why it's called a hard money loan. So great questions today. Yeah, so I hope I know that was a lot that we covered. I don't want to make this so complicated. I want to keep this high level overview. So if there's any other questions, we'll take them. Let me see. If not, then I'm going to leave you with my contact information, and we will be back the same time tomorrow, 1 o'clock Central Standard. I know we got people from all over the world on every social media outlet. So 1 o'clock Central, we'll be back tomorrow. This was fantastic. Thank you for that. Thank you. I appreciate that. And as always, remember, greatness is within you. So don't ever forget that. Greatness is within. Let's stay focused on achieving greatness, and let's take it to the next level. And I'll see you tomorrow. See you soon.